Hey everyone, welcome to Pickleball and Beyond. My name's Ryan.
My name is Vino.
And today we are looking at the Selkirk LUXX Control Invikta, which we are calling the Control Crusader. So Vino, what's your initial thoughts on the paddle?
Very good looking paddle. Just like all of their paddles, Selkirk has really outdone themselves as far as, you know.
Yep, and it has the clean edgeless design.
Yes, it's an edgeless paddle. The graphics are really nice. It's their proprietary material as well. This is the Invikta shape that we're talking about. Yep. So again,
so that extra length on it, longer handle,
16 inches. 7 wide, just over, grips fairly good.
Yep.
It's fully thermoformed, right? So it feels good when you hold it. You don't feel any spacings or anything like that. Overall, very nice paddle.
Yeah, very nice paddle. And let's jump straight into who we think this paddle would be good for.
And how do we categorize it? This is definitely a control paddle.
Yep.
Right? I mean, that's how it's advertised, and geez, that's exactly how it plays.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, they were really trying to go for an in-between. They had the Project 003.
Yep.
They had the Power Air.
Yep.
They wanted the best of both worlds.
Yep.
And in this funny sort of way, I think they have achieved that.
Yeah, they did a great job of it.
Yes.
Let's jumping straight into the control. You know, that's where the main emphasis was for this paddle. That's what they're advertising.
Yes.
It seemed like it was able to retain, you know, it's a 20 millimeter thick paddle.
Oh, yes.
It was able to retain the 003. I actually felt like had a lot of nice control to it. It dampened the ball tremendously.
Yes.
And then you felt that while using this paddle. And granted, this is the Invikta model, which is, you know, going to probably be, I would argue, you know, it's the widest or, you know, the tallest. It's probably going to have the least amount of control out of the series. But it still had a ton.
It had a ton of control.
It had plenty of control.
And I think one of the complaints and the grits about the 003 was it had excess amount of control.
Yep.
The swing weight for this comes at about 105. The swing weight for this comes at about 114. And it's really funny that I feel this has good amount of control.
Yep.
And it kind of builds on what they really did well here.
Yep.
And that really performs well. Like when you're dinking, when you're kitchen line, you really can control where you're placing the ball. You can just put it there, right? But also what I liked about it is when you had to force that ball out, speed up the ball, you had that extra power coming out of it, which sometimes you really lack from this. And this is actually Stephanie's paddle, and you had to really weight this down to kind of get that extra power. Get what I mean? So I think that was really done well.
Yeah, it was awesome. Like transitioning right into the power, like you were saying. I was able to hit all my resets just fine. Third shot drops felt really nice on this. It had a nice, like, you could feel that dwell time on the paddle, and I think that makes a tremendous difference with hitting your drops, hitting your dinks, resets when people are hitting smashes at you. It absorbed it just phenomenally. But then as far as from a power side, it still provided quite a bit of power. I was surprised how close I thought it got to the Power Air. I mean, it's not all the way there, but like it has quite a bit of power, and you know, maybe a lot of that goes into having the cutout shape where you're still able to generate a lot of that power, you know, cutting through the air extra fast. But that's why I was really impressed.
This is a 20 millimeter versus a 13 millimeter, right?
And it got relatively close.
Yes. I mean, you
definitely less power. But still, you know, offered a tremendous amount.
Yeah, and I think that's the key to it. When you have to change between hitting it hard and controlling it, this really came into its own. It really that's where it played its best. You know what I mean?
And that was a nice step up from using the 003, where, like we said, it was able to maintain that nice control aspect of it. But if you're trying to hit speed ups or, you know, any drives, any trying to finish any points, you're able to do it a little bit better with this and retain all those nice qualities.
Yeah, and I think, you know, whenever I think about speeding something up and smashing something up, right? When there's excess amount of power, I think you lose a little bit of direction. right? And I think this had that control. When you hit it, you were able to place it really well, so you got that extra direction. So let's talk a little bit on spin.
So as far as what we noticed with the spin, I'll let you touch on this as well. When I was like hitting dinks with it or trying to put a little backspin on my drop shots, it was awesome. You could feel it sitting on the paddle really well, and it'd get those revolutions going right away. And then one of our good measures for applying a lot of speed on the ball is your serves, for example. And we noticed that it wasn't quite getting as much as some other like paddles that we've tested, but it generated some. But it definitely was better on like the slower shots. It was able to really grab it, sit on there.
Yeah, and we have the more we have played around with, we have realized spin. Can you extract spin when you're hitting it hard, right? And can you extract spin when you're hitting it slower? Especially when you're hitting it slower, I think it contributes more to how long it dwells on it, right? And we felt it dwells really good.
Yes.
Even when you serve, I don't know if you captured that on the video, when the slow serve, right? It stayed and spun really hard.
It would launch.
Right? But exactly, it skips and just turns, right? It bites and turns. But when you hit it harder, right? You didn't have that same amount of spin that you could get like from a carbon fiber paddle. And it
still generated like it still generated that spin on those.
It's still on the high level,
but it wasn't like it wasn't like this was the absolute most we've ever got. But it definitely still had plenty for it. But I think overall we both enjoyed this paddle a lot. I mean, the current MSRP is at $250, and out of the Invictas we have on the table here, I think we would both agree this would be like the one we'd pick.
If you're spending $250 for a Selkirk, I would go with this one. And they have some nice colors as well. I'm not fond of the mustard. I like the red and the blue. But adaptability, I think that's something we have to touch. And it was the same when you tried it. Like we just took it off the box and played it. It was very easy to play with.
Super nice. I mean, it's a well-balanced paddle. I mean, when you're swinging with it, it's not like, oh, this is crazy head heavier. The weights, it's a well-balanced paddle.
And there's something I noticed, and I have to mention. You're not a big fan of the cutout, but this was the first one, as far as the cutout goes, that you played, and you really didn't have to adapt too much, right?
It's true.
So let's throw that out there. Like, you know, I mean, we have tried a few cutouts lately, and like whenever you jump to a cutout, especially you, like, oh, it takes a little bit time to get used to it. Get what I mean? But you, as far as adaptability goes, you were very easily, you know, jumping onto it. So we definitely enjoyed this paddle. Please subscribe, please comment. We love interacting with you. Hope to see you in another paddle review.